Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge Studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Koki Riley in 15 minutes talking LSU baseball. Tigers got a win in the midweek last night. Jay Johnson met with the media about 2 hours ago, so we'll chat with Koki about all that. It's a What If Wednesday. Got a lot coming in on Twitter, so we'll deal with that at the bottom of the hour. Can LSU pull a safety in from the transfer portal? We will discuss that at the end of the hour. MLB.com came out with their top Major League Draft prospects. What does that mean for LSU baseball? I like one specific late-round pick the Saints made more than any other. We'll get to that in the second hour. And, of course, it's Wednesday, so that means for the first time in 2 weeks, because I was out last week, we'll do SEC baseball power rankings. So lock us in for the next 2 hours. Let's get going the same way we do each and every day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Big win for LSU last night against a pretty solid Southeastern team. Southeastern came into the ballgame 33-11. They certainly left 33-12. LSU got out the whooping sticks. 15-2 was the final. There was a lot of good in this game, and I think we all realized that really these midweek games, there's only one left, are about jumping over landmines. You certainly need to jump over one next week against Grambling, but this one was a team that can certainly, on a given night, compete with you, and they did not last night. LSU goes out in the first inning. William Schmidt gets a pop-up to the first baseman. Then he would strike out the next 5 men he faced, so an excellent start to the game for William Schmidt. Once he turned it over to his bats, Derek Curiel led off the game with a home run for the second straight game, and Bear Jones followed with a home run of his own. We kind of let you in on that yesterday, saying, look, if he hits a home run, passes Blake Dean for 4th on the all-time list. He did that last night. So he got off to a good start. LSU's bats kept things going and got 2 more in the first inning. They would score 4 in the first, 1 in the second, 5 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and then the grand slam by Ethan Fry to finish things in the 7th. And I was very, very surprised, quite honestly, to hear Jay Johnson say after the game he really wanted to finish the game in 7 innings. If you listen to him in February and March talk, he hates the run rule, hates the fact that he can't go out there for 2 more innings, get some more guys at bats, get some guys some more innings. But we've now gotten to the point in the calendar where he's saying, look, we can go get off the field, get off the field. And they got off the field with that 4 spot in the 7th. 15-2 was the final. But what did I really like in the game? Well, I thought, despite the line, which is pretty mediocre, like if I handed you this box score that I've got in my hand after the game and you didn't get to watch it, and I said William Schmidt against Southeastern is going to go 3 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, you'd probably go, well, that's pretty mediocre. And the line is pretty mediocre, and it's not wrong. If there wasn't anything that happened during the game when William Schmidt was out there that was fluky that caused the line to look different than it probably should have. That was pretty reflective of what he did. But in watching it, I liked what I saw because I saw a guy that used 3 different pitches for strikeouts. He used 97 with the fastball for a strikeout. He used the hammer breaking ball that we've seen all year for a strikeout. He also mixed in a changeup for a strikeout. And it brought me back, and I tweeted this, and most of you probably don't remember this because it's my job to actually do so. You kind of carry on with your lives after LSU wins on Tuesdays. But in Hammond last year, early in the season, Cade Anderson absolutely manhandled Southeastern with the strikeouts. He did it against Rice, but even more so against Southeastern. He had double-digit strikeouts in that game. Now, Cade Anderson was put into some SEC games last year and didn't throw the ball great. His ERA was massive in SEC games last year. And William Schmidt has not been great in SEC play, but he has shown a propensity at times to dominate some of these midweek games against slower level competition. And that is a step in development. And I saw that with my eyes last night. I thought he was very good last night. He gave up a homer. I don't care about that home run. It was 5-0 in the 3rd inning, and he threw a first pitch fastball and a kid ambushed it and hits it out. Fine. I would much rather, 100 times out of 100, William Schmidt throw a 94-mile-an-hour fastball to start an inning up 5-0 and have it hit over the wall in right field than him walk the first two guys of the inning and then get out of it with a double play ball. Throw strikes. And he did. The guy just put a good swing on it. I'm fine. It was 5-0. Then he gave up a run-scoring double, and that chased him. And it wasn't a perfect outing from William Schmidt, but I'm seeing signs that I like. We talked about this yesterday with Glenn West. At what point do you have to look at the midweek stuff and go, yeah, that's nice, give me something on the weekend? And you're probably there to an extent because you're running out of time. But that's for this team. I'm talking about William Schmidt in a 3-year LSU career, and you're seeing some of the steps that Cade Anderson took last year, and you see what Cade Anderson is today. We're going to talk about the Major League Baseball draft list in the second hour. Cade Anderson's in the top 10. So that's the development I like to see. I thought he threw it great. And then Jay Johnson went to the bullpen for DJ Primo, Jaden Newt, and Connor Ware. And those guys threw 3 2/3 innings. They gave up 2 hits, no runs, did not walk anybody, and struck out 7. Primo and Newt each struck out 3. Ware worked a scoreless inning with a strikeout. All of that is encouraging. Newt's not a guy with dominating stuff. I do like his changeup. I think there's something there. And I think it's reasonable now to start talking about stuff like this. It's probably dumb to have this conversation on March the 4th. Today, I feel like it's reasonable to have this conversation. Those guys went out there against what very, very easily could be a 3 seed in Baton Rouge or Austin or someone of their ilk. And you'd really prefer if DJ Primo and Jaden Newt and Connor Ware got those outs. How many outs did they get? That's quick math. 11 outs. I would rather those guys get 11 outs in a Friday regional game than I would have to go to Zach Cowan. And they did that last night against a representative team. Does that mean they can help you in College Station in a 2-run game this week? Maybe, but maybe not. We've seen some evidence that says maybe not. But when I get to the regional and I'm facing somebody that looks like Southeastern and not Jace LaViolette, okay, I'm trying to get outs in a regional. And as many of them as I can get without Zach Cowan on the mound, without Case Evans on the mound, without Cade Anderson on the mound, without Anthony Heinsohn on the mound, I want to get him. And this is the type of opponent you're going to try to get him against. Next week doesn't really matter because Grambling's not representative of that. Southeastern is. That's a team that very, very possibly could be a regional. It'll probably be them, McNeese, Texas Rio Grande Valley. Like, those are the top teams in that league. Anything can happen in a conference tournament, but Southeastern could be back here in a few weeks. I thought that was good from the bullpen guys. I also liked a couple things offensively. Daniel Dickinson had a couple of hits, really sharp 2-run single that he ripped in the 5-run 4th inning. Curiel continues to just be a monster. He is now, over the last 2 games, and I'm doing this math at the top of my head, which is always iffy as well, but he's 6 for 6 with 4 walks. That's 10 consecutive plate appearances that he's reached base. That is freakish. For the young freshman. He scored 3 times. Love to see Jared Jones hit that home run I mentioned, moved him up. He's now 1 behind Dylan Cruz. You start doing anything that Dylan Cruz did around here, I'm going to pay attention to that. So Jared Jones, hat tip to him. I know everybody wants to continue to see that in the weekends, which you did the last 2 weekends. He homered against Alabama and homered against Tennessee. Hits another one last night. One thing that is worth noting continuously, and I talked about it yesterday, Stephen Milam, who has the lowest strikeout rate on this team in Southeastern Conference play, but also has the lowest batting average among the qualified hitters. 2 more strikeouts last night, plus he hit into a double play. Now, I will say the double play ball was hit over 100 miles an hour, so it was a pretty good swing. Just sometimes you hit it right at somebody, but the 2 strikeouts, he's just not feeling it. And we all know what he did starting in Hoover last year. He was a man on fire in Hoover. And then he went to Chapel Hill and was really good as well, hit the walk-off home run in the game against Wofford. So I'm not losing faith in Stephen Milam. He's still playing excellently at shortstop. They moved him down in the order so that he's not right there in the middle. You had Curiel 1, Jones 2, Brown 3, Dickinson 4, Pearson 5. Had Milam down there at 6. Maybe you need to hit him 7-8 at this point, but he's a guy that they need to pick it up a little bit. And if you're asking someone who had never hit before, hey, you got to pick it up, like, that's kind of wishing on a star. This is asking a guy to regain his form. And I'm going to trust that he can do that. He's such a good hitter. He's just as good from the right side as he is from the left. He has hit the long ball a little bit. It's not like he can't handle velocity. He's just not having a great year. That doesn't mean it can't click. And I'm sure nobody is taking it harder than him. Jay Johnson has talked about him a bunch. He's just a baseball guy. But it's just not clicking for him right now. Hopefully something does over the next 3 weeks, and I'm certainly not going to rule that out. The last piece of information from last night, and I'll ask Koki about this and get his opinion in the next segment. Jay Johnson said in the postgame media that Devin has thrown a simulated game and is throwing bullpens. You don't know who that is. A big transfer, a top 15 transfer in the country last year from Mount St. Mary's. Big physical right-hander. Strikeout stuff, a little bit of command issues, but has started and has pitched at Mississippi State and not for Mississippi State, in the ballpark against Mississippi State. And he was a guy that LSU was going to count on, and then he tore his ACL. But that was last summer, so you're talking about 10 months or so, 9 months or so since that happened, and it's not an arm injury. So, again, I want to be very, very clear about this. We get our hopes up about hurt pitchers in May and June a little too often around here. That's probably because we care so much and we know so much about the program. I think there's probably a lot of Tennessee baseball fans or Georgia baseball fans that are just getting into this because they're now just good and they don't really know the whole roster, and they probably never heard of the guy that tore his ACL that just transferred in the summer, and they're like, oh, who's this guy? We just know because we pay attention to the transfer portal and we talk about it here, and it's a baseball town. But you shouldn't expect a ton from Jake Latz coming back off of injury at the end of a season. You can't expect a ton from somebody that hasn't pitched a lot. Like last year, you kept hearing maybe Chase Shores is ready, maybe Chase Shores. Well, Chase Shores wasn't ready. And I'm not suggesting that under no circumstance can anyone come off of injury and help you in May. I'm saying to bank on it and to feel like that's really an arm you can count on as a fan. Trust me, the staff knows a lot more than we do, and they've got a plan, and they'll handle that accordingly. But as a fan for a discussion point, do I think Devin Sheeran's a good enough pitcher to get outs in the postseason? I do. I absolutely do. Do I sit here as an analyst or as a fan and count on him coming into a regional in a tight spot in a Sunday game and being like, hey, man, I need you to get us 4 outs? I'm not going to bank on that right now. But let's just monitor that and see how things go. As of right now, we're still in April for a few more hours. And you've got 3 weeks of regular season play. You've got a week of tournament play and then a week before the regional. That's 5 weeks of ramping up from simulated games. And it's not like he's coming back from an elbow. So I'm certain he's been throwing. It's just a matter of how sharp can you be. I'm not going to count on it, but it would be my responsibility to mention it here. So I'll give you that little nugget and see what it is that you do with it. I'll ask Koki what he thinks about it. Koki was at the ballpark last night. He was at the ballpark for 947 hours over the weekend. He's always good enough to give us a little time on Wednesday. So we'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Ford is taking 15 to 20% off all new 2024 models in stock. 15 to 20% off all new 2024 Ford models on our lot. Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Shout out to Joey Blanchard, our friends at Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to put a pool in that backyard? Renaissance Homes and Pools is your one-stop shop here in the Baton Rouge area. BuiltByRenaissance.com, where you can find pictures of their great work and reach out to them. BuiltByRenaissance.com. Koki Riley covers the LSU Tigers for The Advocate. Give us a little time each and every Wednesday. Koki, thanks for that time. How are you?
Doing well. How's it going?
It's going quite well. Let's go back to the Tennessee weekend. How big was it?
It was really massive, especially considering, the schedule they have upcoming. The fact that, if you don't win this series, you might be on the outside looking in when it comes to the top 8 picture. And now they're pretty firmly in that top 8 picture. I know RPI says they're at 9 and KPI says they're at 10. But if you look at the projections from the good folks at Baseball America or and otherwise, and D1 Baseball, my guess is this is going to be the case as well. They're a top 2 or 3 seed in the country right now, and that would have been possible if it weren't for that crazy 9th inning on Friday where they score 6 runs and come back and win that game. So I think if they win one of the next 2 series and then do what they're supposed to do against South Carolina, that they'll be a top 8 seed, because I have trouble really envisioning a scenario where they're not one of those top 8 seeds. They're not one of the, say, 4 best teams in the conference, which is kind of roughly the same thing. And because if you say you win 3 of the next 6 games, and then you win the next 2 after that, that gets us 5. You're at 14 wins right now. That gets you to 19 wins in conference play. Hard to see you not be a top 8 seed if you're at 19 wins in this conference. So 19 or 20. So that would be my expectation, at least.
How do you handicap the first 18 innings of the Tennessee series?
Part of it, you just have to tip your hat to Marcus Phillips and Liam Doyle. So I agree, Jay Johnson, to a point, though, because it's not like these guys have thrown no-hitters every single time out. Like, granted, maybe they did pitch a little bit better than they usually even do, but to barely scratch anything against them until the last inning of Phillips's outing, basically. That's a little discouraging, but I don't think that stops you from winning a regional or something like that, because you're not going to face that level of talent in a regional. I'll tell you that, and you're probably not even going to face that level of talent in a super regional. That's more of an Omaha problem. But at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. Like, they were kind of dominated through the first 18 innings, or 17 in the first 18 innings, and I obviously give them credit for taking advantage of a couple of mistakes in that 9th inning. But I'd say overall, you're totally right. Like, they were the worst team, even if their starting pitching in both those games was pretty good too.
No, absolutely, and I don't really have to ask you much about Cade Anderson. He's been great, but Anthony Ianson early on got hit around a little bit, and it wasn't like he was clean on Saturday, but he certainly got through a lot of outs. Like, what do you think about his progress through the season?
Well, I think I was on your show when you asked, like, what does Anthony Ianson need to do to take that kind of next step? And I'm like, basically, if he can go, 5 or 6 innings, give up just 2 or 3 runs, and if he started getting into that sort of rhythm, and if they get anything more out of that, great. But if they get him into that sort of rhythm, then they're going to be in a lot of games against a lot of good teams and have a chance to win a lot of series. And that's kind of what's happened in the last couple of weeks, right? Where he's kind of more consistently, he's battling through the second time in the order, which has kind of been an issue for him. I think he throws enough strikes and has enough good off-speed stuff to where he can keep guys guessing at the plate. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing from him. And it's been very, very important for them to have that second starter. I mean, maybe he isn't quite as good as, say, Luke Holman was last year. It was, again, their Friday start, but he was probably their second best starter because of how good Jump was by the end of the year. But he's still much better than most other number 2 starters in the SEC even. Like, he's third in the SEC in strikeouts, for example, which is kind of a crazy stat given that Doyle's 1 and Anderson's 2. No, Anderson's 1 and Doyle's 2 right now. So it's he's had a pretty good year, and sub 4 ERA. I mean, he's done as well as you probably could have asked for heading into the season.
Well, and then he goes to Kason Evans on Sunday. 1, did that surprise you as a starting pitcher? And 2, what do you think Evans' role is moving forward?
That surprised me a little bit at the time, just because I thought, Tennessee had this lefty-heavy lineup. It just felt like a good opportunity for to get Connor Ware to get you off to a decent start one time through the order, and then you can go to Evans or Cowan. To just start Evans right away was interesting. It shouldn't be too shocking because of just how good he is. And it was weird to see him get hit in that first inning, even if it was Tennessee. And he kind of made the adjustment to throw the ball a little bit lower in the zone, which makes sense given that was an apparent weakness for Tennessee, A, and B, I mean, obviously that changeup and that slider works much better lower in the zone than it does in the upper half. So, and as for his role moving forward, I think a lot of it's going to depend on what happens on Friday and Saturday. I know that sounds like a very coach-speak answer, but, Jay gave an answer after Sunday's game that I thought was pretty instructive as to how this is going to work moving forward, where he said that he would have brought Evans into the game on Saturday if the game was tied or if they were ahead, which makes sense because you want to close out a win.
Yeah.
And I think if they're in that sort of situation on Friday or especially a Saturday game, they're just going to burn him. Maybe not burn him, but burn the potential of starting him for 6 innings. They'll burn that if they have a chance to win and clinch a series victory right then and there. If they don't have that opportunity, I wouldn't say expect Evans to start, but I think that's something that would be a very big possibility, especially if he hadn't pitched yet through those first 2 games. So, I feel like a lot of it's going to come down to the games, but I do think we could definitely see him starting more moving forward for sure.
Who's got a better chance of getting meaningful outs in a regional or a super regional for this LSU team, William Schmidt or Chase Shores?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I still think it's probably Shores. I don't know. I feel like Schmidt has almost turned into a different pitcher when they've been in these SEC weekends. The control hasn't been quite there. The fastball's been even more susceptible to being hit. And there's just a real uneasiness, kind of when he's on the mound. And then there's been in conference play, to be clear, non-conference play has been more than fine. So it's those conference games that are really, and when you're playing in a regional, it's more than just conference games, right? The intensity of that is even greater. And I'm kind of nervous about him when it comes in those sort of situations. And that's for sure is like, yeah, granted, he hasn't pitched in the playoffs yet either, but at the same time, like, if he's just throwing 100 out of the bullpen and throwing, just 1 or 2 innings, then maybe that changes the math on how good he can be. And, like, he gives up, he gave 4 runs in that last outing, but, like, 3 of them were unearned because of that Jared Jones mistake. So, I don't know, like there's been like there's been a major inconsistency with the way Shores has pitched, especially from a command standpoint. But the stuff is just so good, and when in doubt, lean on the veteran. In terms of that's kind of how they approach things sometimes. So that's why I picked Shores, but I don't feel good about my answer at all.
I don't disagree with you. I asked it for a specific reason. Last thing on pitching, Jay Johnson talked about Devin Sheeran after the game last night. Your thoughts on when we could see him and what kind of impact he could have?
We're kind of running out of opportunities. I was talking with the other reporters on the beat, at TV or otherwise, after today's press conference about this a little bit, and I just don't think there's a lot of opportunities to ease him back in now because we are really sort of gearing up here. Even like these midweek games are very, very important because you can't lose them, right? Like if you win them, it's obviously like if you win them, it's obviously expected, and there's not going to be a parade thrown for you. But at the same time, if you lose them, that's a real blow to your RPI, right? So it's just not a lot of opportunities to get him into the game. I mean, if there's a blowout one way or the other, maybe they can slide him in there. But it's just like hard to turn to a guy who hasn't pitched in, I don't know, close to a calendar year. When even if it isn't an arm injury, which also kind of throws another wrench into this, it's hard to lean on that guy, in any sort of like tight situation when the guy just doesn't really not only has he not pitched, he hasn't really pitched at this level either. So just asking a lot, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at some point. I'm really having trouble trying to figure out where, because last night seemed like a decent opportunity to do when they were up 11-2, right? But they still needed to get Connor Ware an inning, and they were going to pitch Grant Fontenot in the 9th inning. So like it sounded like they were never going to go to him, even considering the score. So we'll see what this looks like moving forward, but he's running out of opportunities to really get out there right now.
What do you make of Stephen Milam's struggles?
Seeing the guy who's getting under the ball a lot, seeing the guy who's maybe being a little bit too aggressive at the plate. I think it was even worse, like during the Northwestern State game before this Tennessee series with the over aggressiveness at the plate. Him and Dickinson are getting under a lot of balls, a lot of pop flies, and that kind of shows a certain level of impatience, I think, and maybe even a mechanical thing. Not sure what that is exactly because it's different in every scenario. But this really prides himself on his incredible hand-eye coordination skills in his hands. And just right now, it seems like he's really getting under balls.
Enjoy college,
and not in a good way.
Yeah, no, for sure. Enjoy College Station, Koki. We appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Koki Riley, reporter for The Advocate, covering the LSU baseball beat. Gives us a little bit of time each and every Wednesday. Our Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Come back with What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. 3 decades redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Bathrooms can be a hazardous place in the house, especially as folks age. If there's an aging person in your life that wants to stay home but may run into a situation in the bathroom that could be hazardous, do what you can to mitigate against that. Put in non-slip floors. Put the handrails in the slippery areas. Put the walk-in shower, the tub that you can sit down in. All that can be done at One Bath and Closets. David Duvall and his team do it all the time. And if you're worried about paying for things, financing options are available. 18 months, 0% same as cash if you qualify. What doesn't cost you anything is the free consultation with David Duvall and his team. Have David come into your home and see what he can do for you. You can have that discussion talk about where to go from there. Check out the website for great pictures of their work. You can see the satisfied customers and all their reviews and get that free consultation. One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the 2025 Jeep Compass Sport for only $23,995. $23,995 or 2025 Jeep Compass with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Shout out to our guy, Joey Blanchard. Joey is the owner of Renaissance Homes and Pools, and the beauty of working with Renaissance Homes and Pools when you put that new pool in your backyard is you're going to work with Joey. He's going to sit down with you, going to get the iPad out, going to get into that software, and you can design the pool of your dreams right there in front of you to scale. You can put chairs in there, you can put people in there, you can do your outdoor kitchen on there. Joey will be there every single step of the way. That's the beauty of dealing with a local company like Renaissance Homes and Pools. Here's Joey's cell phone number. This is how you get in touch with Renaissance Homes and Pools. It's 225-252-7745. Again, 225-252-7745. You give Joey a call. Say, hey, it's time for us to put in that pool. He'll be right there. I was chatting with Joey a couple weeks ago before we started this whole deal, and he was like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm back there digging too. If somebody's got to take a little bit of time off for lunch or whatever, I'm there. I'm digging. You're going to work with him on the consultation, the design. You're going to work with him as they dig that pool and finish that pool. He'll be there every single step of the way here in the Baton Rouge area. Done it for dozens and dozens and dozens of people in our area. He can do it for you as well. Renaissance Homes and Pools. Online at builtbyrenaissance.com. All right, Wednesday shows chugging right along here. Got a lot to do over the next 90 minutes. We start with What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
Alrighty, first one here. What if Jared Jones had gone pro last year?
I think you're probably looking at a situation where Jake Brown plays first base and Ethan Fry and Josh Pearson split time in right field. And I think that makes you a significantly weaker lineup. If Cade Arambidi had come on a little bit more quickly. Now, he is coming on. He started a couple SEC games the last couple of weeks, but Luis Hernandez certainly can play first base as well. But Jones is one of the best power hitters in the history of the program. He's one of the best power hitters in the country right now. He's one of the most feared hitters in college baseball, and that changes the way LSU's lineup works. And you just can't mess around with Derek Curiel when Jones is standing 30 feet away in the on-deck circle because he can put a two-spot up like that. And that's a huge, huge deal for LSU's offense to have one of the best hitters in the country right at the top, and then Jones, one of the most feared hitters in the country, right behind him. So, yeah, LSU would be significantly worse without Jared Jones. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
All right, next one here. What if Shedeur Sanders went to the Saints?
I guess it depends where, right? If you tell me he's going to go in the 5th round, like, I'm all for it. I talked about that for a month before the draft. If you tell me at 9, I'm like, probably not the best idea. So, just about value there. I don't love the idea of Shedeur Sanders as a pro prospect, but I certainly don't dismiss the fact that he could be a very good pro. So that's all a value thing. If the Saints would take him in the 5th round, I think that'd be great. Taking him at 9, I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, if they had taken him even in the 4th round, it's like, that's great. That's good. No problems there. It would be weird, though, if they took Tyler Shuck and Shedeur Sanders, which the Browns, by the way, drafted 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Falcons traded for Cousins and then drafted Penix immediately. So teams, you got to have the position. And as you talked about it, like, if you don't ever take one, you're not going to have one. So
it's true.
2's better than none.
All right, next one here. What if Paul Skeens had gone to Texas?
That's interesting. I mean, I think Tennessee was probably, in Arkansas were the 2 teams most closely associated with him outside of LSU. But if he hadn't been on that team in 2023, they don't win. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, that's not even a debate. You got Ty Floyd at the front of the rotation, and I don't even know after that because you never even had a 3rd starter. I mean, Ackenhausen and Cooper, you'd have been probably would have been a regional host because they were so good offensively. But you'd have been up against it on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays in terms of pitching because Floyd for 3.5 months wasn't ready to compete with the number 1s, and then you wouldn't have had guys ready to do number 2 and number 3. So if he doesn't go to LSU, they're a really good offensive team, but they probably get beat somewhere along the line.
All right, next one here. What if your son cost you $100,000?
That's from the Falcons deal. I heard Hanny and Jimmy talking about that. I didn't know that one was coming. Which one?
Well, okay. Let's just make the scenario where...
Yeah, I'm kidding about that. I was just... one of them doesn't sleep very much. The other one sleeps really good, so he's in my better graces at this point.
Yeah.
But, look, that's a kid doing something really dumb. And you can go, well, he's 21 years old, grow up, and I agree with that. But I can't. I mean, I did stupid stuff when I was 21. I called Tim Tebow. I was 19, 2 years younger than that, and left him a voicemail because we got his phone number when I was a sophomore at LSU, and that's a really stupid thing to do. I did it anyway. Young people do stupid stuff, and I think if you think about this without a lot of emotion, without the national spotlight, and without the $100,000 fine that comes, and you just think about a prank phone call, it's a fairly harmless thing to do. But I understand there's emotions that you're playing with there, and then when what happens, and Shedeur goes 2 days without getting drafted, and then it blows up in the media, and it's a much bigger story than a prank call that I made to my 4th grade teacher at a sleepover, a million years ago. didn't end anybody's life here. We're talking about a $100,000 fine for dad, which is not great. We'll see if the Falcons help out with that. But yeah, just a dumb kid doing something dumb. And that's what I talk about this all the time. If you expect the LSU student section to behave better, then your expectations are wrong. They're not going to behave better. They're 19 and 20. Most of them are hammered drunk, and they're going to do stupid stuff. 21-year-old college kids that have information they're not supposed to have, probably going to do something dumb. Just is what it is.
All right, next one here. What if Reggie Bush had been taken by the Texans in the NFL draft?
So I don't know. I can't do the Saints roster off the top of my head there, and I don't know if they would have taken Mario Williams with the next pick and it had been a swap. Like he had a nice career. He was a nice player. He wasn't like a number one pick Hall of Famer, but it wouldn't have been as exciting. You wouldn't have had those ridiculous plays that Reggie made and the run to the NFC Championship game like pretty immediately. Like that was all like kind of part of the roadmap for the Saints, but I'm not here to tell you that drafting Mario Williams would have been some kind of disaster for New Orleans. Like that would have been a good player. And it wasn't like Reggie Bush was first team All-Pro or anything.
Course,
he was exciting. He made some amazing plays and leaping over people at the pylon and all that kind of stuff, and was certainly part of a Super Bowl team. But I think Mario Williams would have been pretty good too.
Yeah, I mean, you always look back more fondly on players.
I have no idea who the third pick was, so I couldn't even help you.
That's a good question, actually. I don't know either, but you always look back fondly on players, especially on a team that won a Super Bowl or wins a championship. So Reggie Bush ended up, Saints fans are going to love him forever because he won a Super Bowl with the Saints and he had some big plays that he made. So I don't think it's going to be a serious problem for the Saints if they end up taking Mario Williams. Or the third pick was actually Vince Young. So
I don't think they were taking him.
No, probably not. It would have made things real interesting though if they did take him and had a little bit of interesting play there with Drew Brees and Vince Young. But either way, I think they're okay. And I mean, I don't know if you can't really say obviously whether they would win the Super Bowl or not. I think they probably still would have because they had plenty of playmakers besides Reggie. But
just give it to Pierre Thomas, baby.
Exactly. Next one. What if Griffin Herring hadn't gone pro?
Ooh, buddy. You'd be talking about the best team in college baseball because you'd have Herring on the back end. You could either start Cowan or Evans, and the other one would be your other stopper. Like those are the missing outs because Griffin Herring on a given weekend was absolutely golden for 9 to 12 outs, and those are the outs right now you're trying to get. And whether that's the front end of Sunday or the back end of Saturday or whatever the case may be, like if you had Herring, like that's the missing piece to the whole team right now. They're good enough on offense most of the time. They're good enough at the front end of the rotation. They're not good enough for 12 to 15 outs, and Herring would be it. So that's your answer.
All right, next one. What if you could add, we've done this one before, but it's always an interesting exercise. What if you could add one former player to the current LSU baseball roster?
I mean, the answer to that forever and ever, amen, is Skeens. Yes. I mean, it's just, that's...
Hunt, you're always questionable about these situations because you usually like to pick somebody that's playing every day.
Well, Skeens is a guaranteed win if you score. And they didn't score against Wake Forest until the end. And so they could have theoretically lost that game with a squeeze bunt. But, like, if you score 2, you win with Skeens on the mound. So with that's invaluable in a regional, in a super regional, and then in game 1 in Omaha, and then whenever he comes back in Omaha. No one could beat him. Tulane had no chance. Kentucky had no chance. Tennessee had no chance. And Wake Forest Louder had to throw a shutout for them to have a chance. So that's just the answer forever. If you told me I had to have a position player, it's going to be very difficult for me to come off of Cruz. Now, I certainly would get behind having Brad Cressy and Eddie Furness and a lot of those guys who were the greatest players in the history of the program. But like Cruz, that discipline, that batting average, the power, and the era which he played where guys were throwing 100, they're just better pitching than what Eddie Furness saw in 1996. So I like Cruz and Skeens. They had him at the same time, and that's one of the reasons they got a flag out there.
All right, last one here. This one's from the chat. What if Jacob Hester, T-Bob, Hunt, and Moscona were 97th, 98th, 99, and 100 in line for the Gorilla fight?
So this crossed my radar. We're apparently fighting gorillas now.
Yeah, 100 men versus one gorilla is the.
I don't think that's much of a fight. I think 100 men are going to take out a gorilla.
But for what if's sake, you guys are the last four.
I mean, as long as everybody else is, if we're going 4-on-1 a gorilla, we're going to get our butt kicked.
Yeah.
I'm no help.
No, of course not. And I don't think
Matt's lost a bunch of weight. Like, the guy's in good shape, but I mean, he's lost a bunch of weight. T-Bob lost a bunch of weight since his playing days.
True.
Hester lost a bunch of weight since his playing days. I'm the only one who's going up in weight, and I can't help.
Yeah,
so,
you're not. Yeah, it's not good weight either.
No, it's terrible weight. I'm weak, the weakest guy by far of the four. So we got problems. But hopefully it doesn't come to that.
Hopefully we don't.
Hopefully we can just sit behind the microphone and talk about sports and not fight any gorillas. That's my hope, at least.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Let's go back and close out hour number 1 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Every single new Genesis purchase, 100-year, not 100-year warranty. Don't ask for a 100-year warranty. You're not going to get it. You will get a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty if you ask for that. Even if you don't ask for it, you're going to get it. 3 years of complimentary maintenance, 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. The odds are, if you're listening to me, you've never been behind the wheel of a Genesis. Just change that the next time you're in the market for a car. You're not in the market for a car right now? You don't need to go buy. But if you are, when you are, go buy Genesis of Baton Rouge Airline at Pico. You've probably never been there either. Only been there about 2 years. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, and you can start your entire buying process online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, Ice Cubes.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Gulf Shores is just All right, wrapping up hour number 1 here. LSU football, like Brian Kelly said, like we're not shopping heavily in the transfer portal in the spring. If there's an opportunity, we may decide to jump on that opportunity. And you saw that they add to the defensive line earlier this week with Bernard Gooden. There may be one more addition that LSU is looking to make, and that is in the defensive backfield with A.J. Halsey. A.J. Halsey played his junior year at Houston this past year and was awesome. He was first team all Big 12 by the coaches, the AP, started all 12 games. He was second on the team in tackles with 74. He tied for the Big 12 lead in interceptions with 5. He was second in the Big 12 in passes defended with 13. He was awesome according to Pro Football Focus. He was 85.8 in coverage, 80 for defensive grade. That was 5th among all Big 12 safeties. 80 ranked grade was second best on the team as well. He was the Big 12 newcomer of the year on defense. Like, he had a monster season, and his measurables are pretty good, 6 feet and 215 pounds. And LSU is kind of looking at safety to figure out how the pieces fit. You're looking at a guy who could challenge in the backfield with a number of people. You've got Jordan Gilbert that's coming back. You feel like Tamarcus Cooley can play safety for you. Do you drop Mansour Delane back? Do you have some young guys in Deshaun Spears and Joel Rogers that are ready to play? Like, none of that's all that proven, and there are some versatile guys that could move around if you feel like you've got a pillar of the defense back there at safety. The question is, can you get him? And I think LSU wants to get him. However, looks like A.J. Halsey was having some fun in Miami last night. There are some pictures on social media that he got a police escort around Miami. They had dinner with Rick Ross, apparently. It was Miami pulling out all the stops. And you know, this day and age, that Miami's got a significant amount of NIL change, and they're pretty attractive for a lot of people in the transfer portal. So right now, it feels like there's a lot of buzz around Miami. My take on the situation is, if you can get A.J. Halsey, you take A.J. Halsey. They have room on the roster, and there is not enough at that position that I feel good about as far as being set in stone. I genuinely believe right now at the end of April that if LSU had to go to Clemson with this roster, they could put together a good secondary. Like, I think that. I don't know it. I think that. I know that if you add a guy who was one of the best safeties in the Big 12, it can't hurt. So why would you not do that, is my point. And this is a guy who has covered, has great ball skills, is not afraid to go up there and make tackles. Pro Football Focus thinks his grades are great, and so I'm all for it. I thought Jordan Gilbert had an uneven year at safety. How much of that was due to the shoulder injury? I don't know, but he's got that healed up. We'll see what that looks like. I don't know exactly what their plan is for Tamarcus Cooley. I don't know if they want to put him at safety or drop him down to the box and play more nickel. I don't know exactly what they want to do with Mansour Delane. I think they feel like he can do multiple things. Maybe that's pull up at the corner spot where he was most of the spring. And I honestly don't know how good a player Javian Toviano is. He played a lot of safety in the spring for LSU. Like, they have options. It's not like, well, who are they going to put out there? Like, they have a lot of guys, but none of it is all that proven. And I wouldn't suggest to you that playing at Houston for a year in the Big 12 and doing good things against some of those teams, and Baylor and Texas Tech and Kansas State, like, automatically cements you as somebody that's going to come into the Big 12 in the SEC and be a really good player. But it's not going to hurt you to bring him in. So if LSU has the funds that are available to make that work, you've certainly got the roster spots to go ahead and make that work. It just sounds like LSU is fighting a little bit of an uphill battle with Miami. We'll just have to see. None of this is finalized until that ink is dried. But to me, just on its surface, without knowing the details of, one, exactly what LSU wants to do in the secondary, and two, what NIL offers are on the table, and what. But it feels like at this point, whatever you've got left in the war chest is there, because it's not like you have to. There's not a lot of guys you're pursuing. You don't have to, like, move money around. It's like whatever you have left, go. And I think that this would be a good position to go forward with. I talked yesterday about how you can never have enough big guys that can move. I certainly believe that. Looks like they've added one of those this week. This is just more of a position where you feel a little bit unsolidified. It's a little bit fluid right now. So go ahead and bring somebody else in to compete. That's not going to hurt you at all. And this is a guy that's got a lot of experience, good size, good measurables, and I think there's a reason why LSU and Miami are very much in the mix for him. The word is that Ole Miss was in the mix. It sounds like that has cooled, according to some folks in the know on the recruiting side of things. So we'll see what A.J. Halsey decides to do. Visited Miami on Tuesday night. As of today, no other visits are set. So you would imagine once the NL offers are kind of put out there, and I think that's probably how this process goes, that he'll make that decision probably before the end of the week, and we'll see just what happens. But certainly I think LSU staff would welcome a safety addition like A.J. Halsey and would like to have A.J. Halsey in the mix. So that's a look at LSU as far as the transfer portal situation goes on this Wednesday. If you're looking for LSU coverage, we've got you covered in a multitude of ways. You can go to Hunt on LSU wherever you find your podcast, and certainly on YouTube. You can also find our LSU coverage at louisianasports.net. If you missed anything in the first hour, it was a fast-moving first hour, as you might expect here on a Wednesday. Talked about last night's baseball game. I gave you my thoughts on it at the top of the hour. Koki Riley of The Advocate at 1:15. A little What If Wednesday there at the bottom of hour number 1. We've got a ton to do in the second hour. There's a late round pick the Saints made that I really, really like. And those generally don't hit, but when they do, man, are they gold. And I think there's one that's got a chance to do it. I've got my SEC baseball power rankings. They're 2 weeks from the last one, so there's a little bit of movement there. We'll do that at the bottom of hour number 2. When we come back after Sports Center, talking about top draft prospects, how does it affect LSU's current roster and their signing class? We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life, so why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford is taking 15 to 20% off all new 2024 models in stock. 15 to 20% off all new 2024 Ford models on our lot. Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the 2025 Jeep Compass Sport for only $23,995. $23,995 or 2025 Jeep Compass with the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. and backed by the one-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NFL fined the Falcons $250,000 and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich $100,000 for Ulbrich's 21-year-old son making a prank phone call to Shedeur Sanders during the NFL draft. Jax Ulbrich got the number from his father's open iPad while visiting his parents' home. The fines were for failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential information distributed to the club in advance of the draft. ESPN NFL analyst Ryan Clark.
You find the Atlanta Falcons so you can put some sort of accountability on the organization. So I think that's a part of the NFL also saying that, yes, this time it was Jax Ulbrich, right? What happens the next time? Or what happens if it takes another step where some of this information gets out and now one of these individuals is actually physically injured?
Must-wins in Game 5s for the Lakers and Rockets tonight, down 3-1 in their respective first-round NBA playoff series. LA home to Minnesota, 9:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Houston hosts Golden State. Washington's Georgia Amor, 6th overall pick in the WNBA draft, out indefinitely with an ACL injury.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, the Clippers face an elimination game at home. I'll tell you why all the pressure is on James Harden to get it done. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour number 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to put that brand new swimming pool in. We can swim here almost year round. It's not too late here in the late spring to put that pool in. Contact Joey Blanchard and the folks at Renaissance Homes and Pools to get that done. All right, I wanted to talk some MLB draft. Not that that's completely pertinent at the moment, but it is going to be eventually. And I wanted to talk about first some of the guys on this current LSU team and where they're projected by MLB.com. And the first guy to come up on the list, it should be no surprise at all, and if you're not aware, Cade Anderson is a draft-eligible sophomore. He's number 10 on this list. He's actually ranked one spot ahead of Liam Doyle, who is number 11 he's number 9. Liam Doyle is number 8. I just messed the whole thing up. Let's reset that. Cade Anderson is number 9 on this list. Liam Doyle is number 10 on this list. All right, we got that out of the way. But that is incredible stuff for Cade Anderson, who got hurt in high school, who came to LSU as a freshman and has great success in the midweek, tried to pitch on the weekends. It didn't work out. Actually threw the ball really, really great in the regional, but has emerged as a true ace on this LSU team. And for that effort, he's now up to number 9 on this list of draft-eligible players. That's the second best left-handed pitcher in the country. Jamie Arnold from Florida State, who was in Omaha last year and is having a really nice year this year, is number 3 on this list. But to give you an idea of the company that Cade Anderson is keeping, Kyson Witherspoon, who you saw at Oklahoma, who's awesome, is number 8. Anderson's 9. Doyle is 10. And the thing that I look at here is I think about not only the draft, which is great for Cade, but I think about the postseason. And I think about when you've got to go beat an ace, when you've got a super regional in the box on a Friday afternoon, Friday night. Who you got if one of these guys shows up? And there's not anybody in the country that's going to show up with a much better arm than Cade Anderson. You could argue you'd rather have Jamie Arnold. You could argue you'd rather have Kyson Witherspoon. You could argue you'd rather have Liam Doyle. I'll hear that. Tyler Brimner is a really good arm at UC Santa Barbara, but nobody's significantly better than Cade Anderson. And I want to say this about that. Whenever LSU goes out in a game and gets beat 9-4, there's a lot of, Yeski stinks, get rid of this guy, we need staff shakeup. And that's easy to do when you get beat. And sometimes in a 56-game baseball season, you get beat. But look at a guy like Cade Anderson. You didn't catch that back, did you? Threw the old cliche in there.
Oh,
we
look at a guy.
Look at a guy like Cade Anderson. Actually,
did you even realize that, or did you do it on purpose?
I did it on purpose.
Okay.
You can actually look at Cade Anderson, and you would say that guy has really developed over the course of his 2 years in Baton Rouge, because he was not getting SEC hitters out, and now he's up here on this draft board at number 9. And that is incredible development. And so that's a really cool thing for Cade. And you can point to a lot of guys in this program. Zach Cowan is a way better pitcher than he was at Wofford. He did not dominate teams in the SoCon last year the way he's dominating right now. Now, the roles are different. Friday night, give me 7 innings as opposed to back into the game, give me 3 innings. But he's getting enough outs at a time. It's not like 3 outs at a time where he's just dominating SEC hitters. He's better than he was. There are a number of pitchers on LSU staff who are doing a better job than they were. Anthony Ionson's better than he was in February. I've seen development from him. I think you can look at some of the guys that you saw over the weekend and even last night. Like Jaden Newt has made some strides on this team. Kason Evans was kind of a shortstop this time last year. He looks like he's got it figured out pretty good. But Anderson is the poster child for this right now, and it's really, really cool to see him that far up this list. The next guy on this list for LSU is Daniel Dickinson at number 66. The tools have translated to the Southeastern Conference. I was looking at SEC-only stats today. Daniel Dickinson's hitting over 300. He is popping up a little bit, but he's played great defense. He's hitting the ball hard a lot. He's hit some really clutch home runs. And so I think that's awesome for him. He looks to me like a second or third round pick. So he's paid off that opportunity to go from a small school where he's dominating to try to fit into a dominant lineup at LSU against the best competition in the country. I think he's taken that step. The next one is very, very interesting. Chase Shores at number 78. Now, all that I said earlier about Yeski and the development of some of the pitchers on this staff, Shores has not taken that step this year. And it's his first off of an injury, and they asked him to do something that he had not done. He was a bullpen guy as a freshman, throwing a bunch of fastballs. Now you're trying to get 15, 18 outs, and that has not materialized to this point outside of one outing on a frigid day in Norman, Oklahoma. But he's number 78 on this list. 78 is in basically the early third round. Got compensatory picks. I'm not going to go look at how many there are, but very into the second sandwich round or third round. Chase Shores is technically a sophomore. So he has more leverage, even though this is his third year at LSU in classes, because he did not pitch last year. So he'll have leverage if he wants to come back and continue to try to harness things in. I think that's probably a wise thing to do. And you're talking about a guy who turned down a bunch of money out of high school. So it won't be the first time he's seen dollars waved at him. I think Chase Shores has a chance to be better than the number 78 prospect in the country is what I'm telling you. That's what MLB has him right now. 6'8", 98 miles an hour. I think another year in college would help him, but everybody's situation is a little bit different. And then you got Anthony Ionson at number 132. And that, to me, it says less about Anthony Ionson and more about where we are in college and amateur baseball right now. Because Anthony Ionson throws 95 miles an hour with a really sharp breaking ball. And when I got out of school in 2011 and started covering LSU baseball for 2011, 12, 13, 14, nobody was throwing 95 miles an hour with an elite breaking ball like Aaron Nola did. Jonathan Gray threw like 97 with a really good breaking ball, and they were top 10 picks in the draft. And Anthony Ianson throws 95 with really good breaking ball, and he doesn't walk a lot of people. It's not like he's like some sort of unpolished, raw prospect. Like, he's a good SEC starting pitcher, and he's number 132 on this list. That, to me, is just it just suggests how good amateur baseball players are at this point. Now, you look at LSU's signing class, there are 7 guys in this signing class in the top 88 on this list. For reference, Jared Jones is 90th. So there are 7 prospects in LSU's class that are in front of Jared Jones on this draft list, if that's any indication as to how loaded this class is. And because of NIL and revenue sharing that's coming and scholarships that are coming and the quality of SEC baseball and how fast guys are moving through systems and LSU's ability to put guys in the draft, you got to figure LSU's got a fighting chance with a lot of these guys. None of these guys are quite to the level that you saw last year with a couple of LSU signees that you were just simply never going to get. Connor Griffin was going to be a top 15 pick no matter what. And none of these guys are like that. The first one on the list is Quentin Young, who's 30th on this list. Connor Griffin was in like the top 7 every time you looked. And LSU was not going to get Cam Caminetti. Like, he was a top 20 pick all along. And none of these guys are quite that high. So it's kind of an exciting deal that we'll get into. And I'm not going to go through LSU's whole signing class here because that's a June segment. But just to kind of plant this seed, there's 7 guys in the signing class ranked ahead of Jared Jones as prospects. And Jared Jones is about to pass Dylan Cruz as the 3rd most home run hitting player in the history of LSU baseball. And he's hitting well over 300 in the toughest conference in college baseball for the season. So that's really cool as far as the signing class goes. I mentioned Jared Jones there at 90. So on this list, Cade Anderson at 10, Daniel Dickinson 66, Chase Shores 78, Jared Jones 90, Anthony Ianson 132. Just a little early glimpse there of LSU in the 2025 MLB draft that'll be held in July of this year. All right, hour 2 off to a good start here. I want to talk a little Saints next. There's a late round pick the Saints made that I love. I will tell you who it is when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to put in that pool? Who could do that for me? I got your answer. Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it. Check them out online. Just see some pictures of their fantastic work. BuiltByRenaissance.com. That's BuiltByRenaissance.com. All right. I was thrilled. The Saints used all 9 selections in the NFL draft, and I thought a lot of the selections made sense. I went through them individually on Monday and just kind of chatted briefly about each pick and why the process made sense. The one thing I thought that they might do would be grab a wide receiver. Mickey Loomis addressed that, and they'll see what they can do in the free agent realm there, maybe some undrafted players as well. But one of the picks I liked specifically was at number 184 when the Saints selected Devin Neal. And so I did a couple of things to kind of research Devin Neal. The first thing I did was go to YouTube and see, what does he look like? What does it look like when he's running the football? And when you watch Devin Neal run the ball for Kansas, you see two things more than anything else. You see shiftiness and balance. He just knows what he's doing to get to space and stay upright. I wouldn't call him a home run hitter when I'm watching on YouTube. I wouldn't call him a bruising back when I'm watching on YouTube. But I would call him a guy who knows how to take the football, get to space, and stay upright. And when you do that, you become the first Kansas player to rush for 1,000 yards in 3 seasons. You set the career record with 4,343 rushing yards. You run for just about 50 touchdowns, 49 of them, 53 touchdowns total. And he was a very positive aspect of Kansas's passing game. He was honorable mention all Big 12 and just insanely productive. So when you go from the tape to the production, you're like, okay, that all makes sense. The next thing I did was go to his combine scores. And I was not surprised when you look at a guy that productive to find out that his combine scores were underwhelming. He ran the 40 in 4.58. His vertical was 37.5. His broad jump was 10.4. And none of that probably means a lot to you. It certainly wouldn't to me outside of the 40 time at 4.58. But if you put the athleticism score that they've established on NFL.com, he ranked 25th among the running backs in just how fast do you run, how quick do you go through the cones, and how high you jump. But his production score, which is what you do on the field, was 7th amongst the running backs, and that ranked him when you netted the whole thing out, according to their metrics, which do with what you will, but it was 14th among the running backs. This was never a shot for the Saints to take their bell cow 2025 running back. That's not what the Saints were looking for in this selection. They were probably looking for the heir apparent to Alvin Kamara when they took Kendre Miller, and at this point, you can't forecast that that's going to happen. But I think it's reasonable to suggest that Devin Neal can beat out Kendre Miller for the second job behind Alvin Kamara because he catches the ball. He's been incredibly durable at Kansas. He's been incredibly productive. And I think his skill set complements Alvin Kamara very well as that next guy. Do you still potentially need a hammer of a running back? Maybe. Jamal Williams didn't work out. You can find a running back, shake a tree. But this was a late round pick at a position where you've got an old player. And one thing that I did not realize until I dug a little bit deeper on Devin Neal is his age. Devin Neal played 3 years at Kansas, but he's only 21 years old. I love that. In the same way that I don't care at all about Tyler Shook's age being 26, because if he's here when he's 36, then it really worked. I need my running back to be young. Like, they're two different things. And he's young. So I'm not here to completely dismiss Kendre Miller. I did that last year, and then more information came out, and I walked it back. I'm never too proud to say, well, I said this, I'm sticking by it. Like, if I have new information, I go, well, I'm going to change my mind. It sounds like Kendre Miller and Dennis Allen got crossways, and Dennis Allen just said, I'm done. And maybe that was more of a rift between those two than the actual circumstances of the Kendre Miller injury. Like, I'm not going to excuse getting hurt on the first drill of training camp. Like, that is coming into camp out of shape. Like, you come in there and break your collarbone. That's one thing. You can't go through a drill because you're out of shape and hadn't put in the work. Like, that's quite another. But Kendre Miller, it's time to put up or shut up, and that is no matter if it was Dennis Allen's fault or Kendre Miller's fault, because that clock's ticking. And I just really like the production that I saw from Neal, and I think that what I saw from him and what the Saints need, which is somebody to take a little bit of Alvin Kamara's workload off. Keep in mind, he's getting to his mid-30s, and he hit his highest rushing total ever last year. Like, he was used a ton, especially when Derek Carr went down. Miller was out. Like, it was Alvin Kamara or nothing. And they were slamming him up behind that bad offensive line. He was getting his bell rung every single week, and he kept going. Broken ribs, he still played. Somebody's got to take something off of Alvin Kamara's plate. And it's so frequent in the NFL that you find a running back late in the draft that can do that. That's why Ashton Genty's such a great player, and some people looked at him and go, please don't take him at 9. You can find one later. And this is the guy they found. And I would never sit here and suggest that Devin Neal is going to put up the same numbers this year that Ashton Genty's going to. He's not the same player. He's not as good. But it's about filling a role. And the role is take some work off Alvin Kamara's plate, catch the ball out of the backfield to probably help a very young quarterback, and be productive when you're called upon. And Devin Neal was nothing if not productive at Kansas for 3 full seasons. And yeah, I'd love it if he ran a 4.38. Ran a 4.38, he wouldn't be there at 184. But I also don't really care that much that it's a 4.58 because I'm not asking him to be a game breaker every time out on the field. I'm asking him to be productive, and he did that a ton. So I think this pick, based on the production at Kansas, the needs on the Saints roster, the spot in the draft that they took him, I think the whole thing is a really nice marriage, and I think there's a really good chance for Devin Neal to make the team. I saw and read a lot of people that had very glowing things to say about him, and the last piece to this puzzle, which doesn't matter at all if you can't play. Like, you have to be able to play, but it helps when you're a team captain and you're respected to that degree on your team. And Devin Neal was a team captain at Kansas, and that was a theme within the Saints draft picks time and time and time again. Guys who were excellent in the locker room, thought of as team captains, respected by their peers, good locker room guys. And there's something to that. Again, if Devin Neal had rushed for 1.5 yards a carry and ran a 4.91 in the 40, like, I don't need his team captain on the team. Like, I don't need him on the team. Sorry, I'm glad you're the team captain. Go ahead and get a new job. But it helps when you are a productive player, you do have skills, and you're thought of as a guy that can really be looked on, counted on, and respected. And that's not a shot at Kendre Miller. I don't know anything about Kendre Miller from that perspective. But I feel like Devin Neal's a guy who's going to come in ready to work. And I think I'll go ahead and say this. I think there's a better than 50% chance that Devin Neal makes this football team. I really think that. And I've said the Saints need to grab 4 starters out of this draft. And maybe Neal's not a starter this year. But maybe over time, he chews into Alvin Kamara's workload as Alvin ages, and you do grab a starter in his 3rd year because he's proven that and now understands the offense and can really take the reins from Alvin Kamara. That's ambitious for a pick at 184. It is. It's ambitious, but it's certainly possible that the Saints have found that. And so, again, I've talked about the skill set. I've talked about what I saw on the tape, and y'all know that's not necessarily exactly why I'm here. I'm more comfortable talking about the process by which the Saints have gone about things, and I think this one checks every box. If it doesn't work, well, your scouting department screwed up. But that happens all the time, and it's just part of the drafting process. The good news is the Saints gave their scouting department more opportunities to both hit and miss. And that was the most important thing. I also like this pick. So Devin Neal, running back from Kansas, I think a good selection there for the New Orleans Saints. If you're looking for Saints coverage, you can always find it Hunt on Saints wherever you find your podcast. Ross Jackson also doing fantastic work over at LouisianaSports.net. Ross actually agrees with me here that he thinks Devin Neal could be a big steal for the Saints that late in the draft. So you can go read his piece over at LouisianaSports.net. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, the all-important Hunt Palmer SEC Baseball Power Rankings. LSU, big series win. Where are the Tigers? That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Business owners, CFOs, risk managers, hurricane season is around the corner. Do you know that your property policy is written properly? Or do you just know that the premium, that last line, is lower than the one that you looked at previously? If that's all you know about your property policy, just have the Highland Insurance Group go take a look at it. Do you know what co-insurance penalties are? Do you know that if you are in violation of that co-insurance penalty, you're not going to get a full payoff in the event of a loss? Do you know what your wind and hail deductible is? Is it a named storm deductible? Or did you just look at the premium? If you just looked at the premium and you're not really sure if that bad hurricane comes through here, what's your business interruption limit? That's saved a lot of people in a lot of businesses in this area during Katrina, during Rita, Gustav. If we get that bad one, your premium is not going to be the most important thing. It's going to be how the policy is written. At the Highland Insurance Group, they're going to make sure your policy is written properly. Jonathan Carver and his team are awesome to work with. Give them a call or visit them online at HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group based right here in Baton Rouge. You can find them online at HighlandIG.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
All right, bottom of hour number 2 here on this Wednesday. Have to work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'll tell you this before we get into the SEC Baseball Power Rankings. I do these blind every single day. Every single week, I should say. Do not do them every day. Every single week. And then after I do them, I go back on Instagram and I pull up last week's when Cassie makes the graphic, and I see how everything has shaken out. And I was really excited to do it today because I haven't done power rankings in 2 weeks. I was out last week, so didn't certainly do them. And I was curious how big a shakeup there would be. And I'll be honest, and I'll look at it right now. I have a team that moved 3 spots here, 3 spots here, 3 spots here. So there are 4 teams that moved 3 spots, and then nobody else moved multiple spots, which I think is pretty consistent from my power rankings, with having no real idea of what it was 2 weeks ago. I mean, I guess I have a kind of an idea of what it was 2 weeks ago, but I'm kind of proud of myself for sticking with my thoughts and my feelings on these teams.
That's great, Hunt.
Not wildly reacting to things like Beck would do.
Yeah, because I'm really glad that you kept your integrity about you, Hunt. That's just really good to see.
If you don't have your integrity, what do you have?
What do you? Nothing.
You really have nothing. Just hit the button.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. The Texas Longhorns.
I finally put Texas at the top. I mean, at this point, I probably have to do that. They're remarkable at 19-2 without the reigning Big 12 Player of the Year and without their ace, Jared Spencer, for the rest of the year. Now, we'll say this. Their road series so far have been Missouri, Kentucky, and Mississippi State, which is the bottom of the league. Georgia's come to them. LSU has come to them. Texas A&M's come to them. So it's been a bit of a favorable schedule like it was in football. But 19-2 is 19-2. I'll give them their props. They're number one on this list.
The LSU Tigers.
I really did this so somebody didn't come set fire to my office after LSU beat Tennessee 2 out of 3. LSU is in really good shape. I love Kate Anderson at the top. I think the lineup is going to be just fine when they're not facing the greatest pitchers in college baseball, which is going to happen here pretty soon. I still have some question marks, as with really everybody, but I've got LSU at number 2. They're 14-7 in the league, so they're up one spot from 3. Go Tigers.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
I backed Tennessee up a spot, even though they looked really impressive for 18 innings in Baton Rouge. I mean, you've got to admit that. They've probably got the best 1-2 punch at the top of their rotation. They've got a really good offense, but they've lost series now to A&M, LSU, and Kentucky this month. That's got to stand for something. They're 13-8 in the league, so I backed them up just one spot, but they are absolutely a national title contender.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
This is weird for Arkansas. I backed them up 3 spots from 1 to 4. They have lost 3 weekends in a row right now. Gabe Gackle has lost his job at the top of the rotation. They're still really good on offense, but they've lost 3 in a row. And the next 3 series, Texas in Fayetteville, at LSU, and Tennessee in Fayetteville. Those might be the best 3 teams in the country. I've got in the top 3, and that's all they've got left, having lost 3 in a row. So Arkansas has really got to get it in gear if they want to make it a top 8 seed.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Bulldogs stayed consistent at 5 after 2 weeks. Didn't move them at all. They're still mediocre on the mound. Can still really hit. They're 12-9 in league play. Their RPI is very good. So they're looking at a top 8, but they're going to have to play well down the stretch.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss didn't move either. They were 6 2 weeks ago. They're 6 right now. Riley Maddox, his best outing as a Rebel, as a senior, was this past weekend. Ole Miss is 12-9. They're playing meaningful baseball at Swayze Field. Right now, it feels like they're probably going to host if they can get this thing to the finish line. So good on Mike Bianco for overhauling his roster and getting Ole Miss back to relevance.
Texas A&M!
I've got A&M all the way up to number 7, and they got swept last weekend. And that's pretty simple. They're playing better. They beat Tennessee 2 out of 3. They beat Arkansas 2 out of 3. And yeah, they got swept at Texas. If you just look at the results of the game, you're going to say, well, they got swept, they're not any good. If you watch the games, you look at the score of the games, you know Texas is number 1 in the country, and A&M played them straight up for 3 days. They just didn't make the one play they needed to make. So A&M's good. It just may be too late for them to be good, considering they got LSU and a trip to Georgia coming up in the next couple of weeks. They're 8-13 in the league. They're playing better.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
I didn't move Alabama. Had them at 8 2 weeks ago. Had them at 8 here. They're 12-9 in the league as well. That's tied with Ole Miss. That's tied with Georgia. It's a team that's got maybe the best player in the conference in Justin LeBron. Their pitching is suspect, but Quick is very talented. So it's a team that has hosting potential, has super regional potential, but again, middle of the pack in the league, I think.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn's got to be careful this weekend because their RPI is in really good shape, and it's not going to back up too much. But their conference record is in jeopardy. They're going to Tennessee. If Auburn can go to Knoxville and win 2 out of 3, then you as an LSU fan need to take them seriously as a top 8 national seed threat because of their RPI and the fact that they swept you and the fact that they don't play Missouri. If Tennessee sweeps Auburn, Tennessee beats 2 out of 3, all of a sudden the conference record doesn't look as good. So it's just something to watch for. If you're an LSU fan, maybe pull for Tennessee this weekend. But Auburn, I think, is a good team. They need to be careful this weekend in Knoxville.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
I backed Vanderbilt up 3 spots. They don't hit for power. They don't hit a lot really at all. They've got a really low ERA. They pitch it well, but they don't feel like a real threat to get to Omaha to make a push. So I can't, even though they're 12-9, like Alabama, like Georgia, who I've got at 5, I just don't feel threatened by Vanderbilt. So I've got them down at number 10.
The Florida Gators.
Moved Florida up 3 spots. They have figured some things out. It may be too late, but we'll see. They were 1-11 in league play. 1-11 in league play. Since then, they're 7-2. They have beaten Missouri for 3 of those games, yeah, but they also beat Arkansas 2 out of 3. So they've moved some things around with their pitching staff. They've got a lot of injuries. Now Colby Shelton's hurt, but they're playing a lot better. They're 7-2 of their last 9, so I moved Florida up to number 11.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Moved the Sooners back, even though they took 2 out of 3 from Vanderbilt a couple of weeks ago. Malachi Witherspoon is playing better, but they're not really good at anything on offense. They are good at walking. They're good at stealing bases. They don't strike out a lot, but they also don't hit a lot. So, yeah, Kyson Witherspoon makes them a threat on a given weekend. I don't know if he makes them a threat over the course of a regional. He only pitched once. So I got Oklahoma at number 12. That's back a spot.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Once again, Kentucky is now last in the SEC in home runs. Vanderbilt passed them over the weekend. So Kentucky is last in the SEC in homers, 12th in doubles, 13th in runs scored, 13th in batting average. Their record is okay, but they're not a great team. I got them down at 13.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Thanks for the national title, Coach Lemonis. Appreciate that hard work, but he will no longer need his services there in Starkville. They played great last night, crushed Memphis, but I don't think they're very good. That's why their coach got fired. So Mississippi State down at number 14, back a spot.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
5-16 for South Carolina this year, and Ethan Petrie is probably out for the year with an AC joint injury in his shoulder. LSU goes to Columbia in 3 weeks, so that'll be something we keep an eye on then. But if I'm an LSU fan, newsflash, I am. I'll take South Carolina getting their butts kicked the next 2 weekends and completely checking out by the time LSU gets to Columbia. Make sure the fan base is not there. Make sure the team's disinterested and get that thing done. I apologize to Coach Maneri.
Okay.
Apologies.
But do you really want them to lose all those games and then you have the two worst teams on your schedule?
I just need to win the games. I need the 2 or 3 wins. If you get to 20 wins, it doesn't matter. And so I just don't really want Carolina to care that much. They don't have a lot of talent. With Petrie gone, they have less talent. Love Coach Maneri. Appreciate what he did here in Baton Rouge, but he doesn't coach here right now, so not really in the mood to pull for him when LSU goes to Columbia. So they're bad, and they're 50.
The Missouri Tigers.
Can you believe it, Beck? I got him at number 16.
I can't believe it.
Do you think that's disrespectful?
No.
I appreciate that. Missouri 0-21.
Remember when we said, are they going to win? First, I think we said, are they going to win 5 games? Then
I think it was like 4.5.
Then we moved to 3, and then now it's just, Are they a half? Are they going to win a game?
Yes.
It's the question. Are they going to win a game?
I'm asking you.
No.
I have an answer.
I don't think so.
They will win a game.
I don't think so.
They're going to win a game. You know who they're going to beat?
Who?
The Texas A&M.
Oh, of course you would say that.
That will be
no surprise.
Although if they do beat A&M in a game, Early's going to get fired that day. So
yeah.
But that's those are my power rankings. Got Texas at the top, LSU at 2, Tennessee at 3. Arkansas is at 4, Georgia's at 5. I think here's a game, Beck. We got a little time here. Just say the word stop when I say a team that can't win the national championship.
Okay.
Texas, LSU, Tennessee, Arkansas, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas A&M.
Stop.
Can Ole Miss win it?
I think they can. They've had. I mean, look, the championship they won. They
did.
They probably had a worse team they do this year.
No, they were better.
They were probably a little bit better.
They had a bad month. They had a bad month.
But still, like, they can do it. It's baseball.
How about here's a good stat that I got. I was listening to Chase Parham on their Rebel Grove briefly when he was recapping their series. Chris Lemonis got fired with the same SEC record that Ole Miss had the year they won the national championship.
Wow.
And I think there's reason to believe that their AD, Selman, fired Lemonis so he couldn't get hot. Not so he couldn't win a national championship. So he couldn't try to turn it around in the last 4 weeks. So it's an interesting deal there. But I think I don't think Ole Miss can do it. I don't think their pitching staff's good enough. Randall Alfrick says, what's the worst SEC record ever in baseball? I have no idea. Missouri probably has it.
They have to have it right now. I mean, there's no way a team has ever gone this long without winning.
I mean, I know this. Those disastrous Mississippi State and Ole Miss teams were like 8-22. After they won the title, they're like 8-22. I know because I did the research on LSU in 2011 that Tennessee was 7-23. But it can't be the worst. Missouri's probably been worse than that since then. So this will be it. They're already at 21. The question is if they win a game. I'm a little tongue-in-cheek with the A&M thing. I really think they're going to win one. It's just really
hard. It's hard not to
go 0-30.
It is.
They took a 5-1 lead on Alabama in like the 5th, and then they just completely blew it.
And Hunt, your Vandy slander continues yet again. I mean, they've got sweeps over Georgia, and by the way, they also swept Texas A&M, and yet you have them 3 spots below A&M.
I do. I think A&M's better than them.
It's really just continuing your. You know what? You're nothing if
Here's the consistent part about all that. If you are 15th or 16th in the SEC in home runs, I've got an issue. I had an issue with Kentucky all last year. They got to Omaha, great. But, like, it's just really hard against these guys that are pitching to try to get 4 hits in an inning to score 2 runs. It's just really hard to do.
It is.
I'd really rather walk and then hit it off the scoreboard. And if you can't do that, it's just hard to score. I don't need you to have 8 guys who hit 245 with 1 million strikeouts and 15 homers. But, like, when you just can't hit homers, like, it's just hard to score. And so I'm glad LSU has some guys that can hit homers.
That is nice.
It is. That's your SEC Power Rankings. They'll be updated on Instagram here in the coming days. Take a time out and close it down. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com. Every car that's on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. If you're one of those folks that comes time to buy a vehicle, you're like, oh, I just dread going to the dealership. I know I'm going to drive up there. I'm going to get out of my car, and a salesman just going to come right up to me. He's going to be really pushy. He's going to show me all these bells and whistles, try to upsell me. I can't take him seriously. I'll feel all this pressure. I just hate that. I don't even want to go. Well, that's never going to happen at Genesis of Baton Rouge. They've got an incredible staff of brand ambassadors that are going to treat you like a guest and not a customer. They're there to help. But if you're still just anti-dealership, that's okay. Because like I said, every car that is on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. And if you see something you like when you're perusing the inventory, you can contact Genesis of Baton Rouge, and they will come to you for the test drive. They'll come to your office. They'll come to the house, get behind the wheel, take that trip. And if you decide, well, this is what I want, you don't have to go to the dealership to get the car either. They can do delivery. They've got e-contracts. You can handle the entire process remotely. That's the society we live in now, right? Nobody wants to go to the store to buy anything. Just bring it to me. That's what you can do with your vehicle at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Check them out online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. genesisofbatonrouge.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
One 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by Duplessis Pool Builders. Today is the last day, so get your donations in at 1045ESPN.com. And also, you can win free tickets to the WNBA preseason game at the PMAC on May 2nd. Watch Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky take on the Brazil national team. Enter the Show Us Your Angel giveaway for a chance at premium seating and an autographed Angel Reese basketball. Sign up at 1045ESPN.com.
What's the coolest autograph you've ever gotten?
I don't think I've personally ever gotten someone to sign something for me. But however, when I used to work at a radio station in Houston. It was a sports radio station. And not one day, but we were moving to a new office. So we had all of this stuff just in our old office that we were just like getting rid of. And so they put it all in a room and they let people go in there and just, you could take whatever you wanted for free. I went in there and there were a bunch of basketballs and they were signed. And some of them were signed by random Rockets player from 2010, whatever. And I saw one that said D, and there was a 12 on it. Like, that's Dwight Howard. Somehow no one had seen that, so I scooped it up, and I got a basketball signed by Dwight Howard. So that's pretty cool. Probably a future Hall of Famer, so that's pretty cool. And I never really got anything else signed. I did, however, catch a baseball from Ian Happ at the Cubs game. They do the toss, and they throw it up into the bleachers, and caught a ball from Ian Happ. So that was probably the coolest thing I've gotten from an athlete or somebody, but other than that, nothing signed.
I don't have any autograph stories. I've never sought one out. I don't think. All the cool ones I got, people got and gave them to me. Oh, actually, I have one cool autograph story. My cousin got married from New Orleans, went to Newman, and was in Peyton Manning's class, and Peyton Manning was in the wedding. And I was in middle school, and my buddy was a huge Peyton Manning fan, so I went over at the wedding, which I'm sure Peyton really appreciated, the sixth grader going over to get the autograph. But I got his book signed and gave it to my buddy. So that was cool, but I didn't keep that one. My buddy has that one. My dad rode the train up with his grandfather in the 70s and went to Kansas City for the All-Star game, the MLB All-Star game. And he went to the hotel that the American League was staying in and got all of them to sign this one sheet of paper. And then in that time, it was a little different times, I think. Mickey Mantle did not stay there. He was the biggest, most famous one. And my dad said he was walking out of the hotel. I think my dad was 10, 12 years old, whatever. And he saw Mickey Mantle getting in a cab across the street.
Oh, my gosh.
And he ran over and got Mickey Mantle to sign it, and it's laminated at the house. The only name I can remember on it, because a lot of them aren't legible to me, Al Downing's name is on it. Al Downing gave up Hank Aaron's 715th home run, left-handed pitcher. That was really cool. My parents were at dinner in Dallas once, and Emmitt Smith was there, and I was a huge Cowboys fan at that point in the mid-'90s, and they got a sign for me. And then my aunt and my cousin were in New York when I was in middle school, and the Lakers were in the hotel they were staying at. And Shaq was going through, and he wasn't signing any autographs. And my aunt yelled, "Shaq, I went to LSU!" And he stopped, and he signed it to Hunt and Shaq. And I had that in my room for a while.
Nice.
So Shaq giving love to the LSU people. That's nice to see. Do we have any take it or leave it's after autograph talk?
Yeah, I got a few, I guess.
Guess there's no soccer on today?
There is soccer on today, actually, but it's not my team, so I'm not really. I mean, I'll probably watch it after the show's over, but I'm not going to be watching it during the show. It's not that important.
The Ohio Bearcats or Bobcats over there aren't playing basketball.
No, the Devils lost yesterday, Hunt. The season is over. But,
gosh, who's their coach? Oh, he still doesn't know. I asked him 3 weeks ago. He still doesn't know.
You're putting me on the spot. I can't think about it now. It's just too hard.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, first one here. The Bill Belichick drama, or whatever you want to call it, has just continually evolving after go to North Carolina, having a very having a 24-year-old girlfriend, and after a CBS interview that showed her clearly trying to control where this interview is headed, Bill Belichick said, of course, in a statement that she wasn't trying to control this TV interview. But Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it. Do whatever you want to do, Bill. You had a good run. I don't think this North Carolina thing's working out worth a flip. The whole thing seems like a clown show. But, people are talking about North Carolina football, I guess. Seems a little ridiculous. My dad just texted 1963 is when he went up to Kansas City for the All-Star game. How about that?
Also, the Devils, I did not look this up. I need a second, okay? The Devils coach's name is Sheldon Keefe, okay?
Showing teeth?
No, Sheldon.
Like what you do when you take a picture, showing teeth? That's what I tell Myers to do.
You know the guy from Big Bang Theory, Sheldon?
No, I do not watch Big Bang.
Sheldon Keefe.
How did the Big Bang Theory get to be such a huge show?
Because it was a comedy on a prime station, man. Everybody loved it. Anyways, last one. Hunt, I'm just going to assume that you played Nintendo 64 when you were a kid.
I did, a lot.
Okay, Pokemon Stadium. Did you ever play that?
Did not.
All right, Pokemon Stadium. I was going to say Pokemon Stadium 26 years ago. Just to make you feel old. Pokemon Stadium came out 26 years ago, so I was going to say Pokemon Stadium, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I know some Pokemons. Charizard.
Hey, he was on the cover of the game.
Holographic Charizard. That was the big thing.
Card. Yeah, the Pokemon card.
Hufflepuff, or is that Lord of the Rings?
That's not even Lord of the Rings, hon. That is Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
You're just three degrees of separation there.
Squirtle.
Yes. Correct. You got it.
Got one.
Good job, hon. Beautiful stuff.
I play N64 exclusively. Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball for just a billion hours.
Yeah.
Played some NFL Blitz. A lot of that.
Probably GoldenEye, I would have to guess, at least.
They played GoldenEye. I didn't care about playing GoldenEye.
Maybe a wrestling game?
I sucked at all those games. We did play Revenge, and that's how I know some wrestlers. I never watched I never watched a wrestling thing, but Kevin Nash is who I was. Goldberg, you did a lot of spears.
Yep.
Played football at Georgia.
Nice.
A lot of N64 back in the day. No question. Mario Kart, big deal. That's it for us. You missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, starting to preview LSU and Texas A&M. Cannot wait. See you then on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
You gotta believe in the dreams.